What's up, what's up, what's up? It's Cayman Wolf, the Decrepit Gamer. Welcome to the 5th installment of Project Ravenloft, where we're building Castle Ravenloft in Minecraft. If you want to get caught up on this series, you can catch the playlist right here. It's also in the description of this video, and I will also link it at the end of the video. So that's 3 different ways that you can get caught up if you want to see the first 4 episodes of this series and get a better feel for where we are in the build. We're not just building Castle Ravenloft, we're standing up a Ravenloft server. So follow this channel and grab the Discord link in the description if you want notification and early access to the alpha build. Right now, let's just dive right in. All right, it has taken me quite a while to try to figure out how to roof this chapel. And you know, I tell you, it's like whack-a-mole. I feel like I've got a good solution here. I feel like it aligns pretty well with what they have in the module. But if you look here, there is just no practical way to have everything align exactly the way they have it depicted here. And again, this is because this is an artist rendition of it, and I'm sure that this artist drew this based on what was in the plans. But I mean, it's an artistic drawing. You know, it's not an architectural blueprint. So he, you know, kind of took what was shown here and what was described, and drew it. And so it's very I'm finding it's actually a lot closer than I initially thought it was. But everything doesn't line up exactly the way he's got it pictured here. So you see how this little offshoot of the main portion of the chapel here kind of lines up with the center of the domed ceiling. And actually, even the drawings don't necessarily agree 100% with each other. In this drawing, the dome was a little bit oblong, and then in this drawing it's almost perfectly circular. So the most important thing, really, when you get right down to it, is that everything aligns with the grid on the map here. So you know, it's imperative that this is correct, and then making it match the artistic interpretation of what the castle is supposed to look like. That's kind of you know, that's secondary. So we want to get as close to this as possible, as long as we stay aligned to the map. And I feel like we've done a really good job here. So if you look at this, you know, here's the belfry, here's the accountant's office outside the belfry, here's the domed ceiling of the chapel, and then the chapel has these 2 offshoots here, these 2 sections that come out to either side. And then I wasn't sure what this was, but I've kind of figured that out as well. And the thing that I was most concerned about was the balcony down here. So there is a balcony down here that, let me fly down here so you can, let me just shoot this little unfinished part here. There's this balcony right here that runs almost the width of the chapel, at least the width of the main portion of the chapel. And I was concerned that it was going to be difficult to get the entire balcony within the confines of the chapel. And that has ended up not really being, I mean, I was able to do that. In order to do that, this rooftop right over here has to start a little farther back than it's actually. So in the drawing, this is actually a lot closer to this belfry tower portion of the castle, as you see right here. See, this does not leave room for that balcony to run along the width of the chapel there, so that you could stand on that balcony and look down over the chapel from the entire width of the balcony, which you're supposed to be able to do according to the map, not according to the drawing, but according to the map. So we had to accommodate that by lengthening this portion here. So this comes out a little further because that balcony is right there behind that, you know, under that rooftop right there. And then I think we're just going to try to make this symmetrical by doing the same thing on the other side. This is the portion of the map that there is no good view of. So that they've got even that artist. I mean, the artist rendition is drawn from 2 different angles, from directly in front of the castle, and then from a isometric view above the castle. And both of those drawings this whole portion back here that I'm looking at right here, all of this is not visible. And so we've got the dimensions of everything on the, on the graph paper, how the rooms are laid out, but all of the way that the rooftops work back here is just going to have to be, I'm just going to have to, figure it out. And I will. And in a way that's a little bit liberating, because, it's not always possible to make everything look like it's depicted on the map. And if they don't depict it at all, then we can just do what makes the most sense. Okay, so here I finished placing the domed roof on the cathedral. So the reason it has this, what I consider to be interesting architecture here, is because I just started with, and I'm finding this to be often the case when you're working with roofing structures in Minecraft. You want to just start with a pattern and then continue that pattern around, and it just sort of works itself out. So the pattern here was, this was supposed to be a dome. So we wanted, matter of fact, let's look at the picture. What I wanted was a more rapid, a steeper slope initially, and then gradually going off to a more gentle slope as it reaches the top, so that it's a sort of a dome shape instead of a circular shape. And of course, you can't achieve that curved surface in Minecraft, so we had to just come up with some architecture that simulates a dome, and I think that what arose out of that was just a very interesting structure, some very interesting architecture here. So the pattern that I chose was, I would because I wanted the steep slope, and then I wanted it to gradually go to a gentler slope. I went with the stair, and then a steep elevation of a squared off block, and then a stair, and then another one, and then two stairs, and then the stair, and then the horizontal block, and then the stair and the horizontal block. So two horizontal blocks, two stairs, and then two vertical blocks. And what arose out of that with these sides here that came off on 45-degree angles, because we're kind of trying to simulate a circle here, what arose out of that was this, what I think is a very interesting looking structure. And then I followed that same pattern down here for these portions of the rooftop coming off of these curved surfaces here. This is what these are in the drawing. Now, one thing that's happening in my structure is that this is much, honestly, I don't know if it is or if it's sort of an optical illusion. It feels like my structure is bigger than what we see here in this picture, but the proportions are the same. It comes up to nearly, now admittedly, mine comes up closer to these windows at the top of the belfry here. So I've probably got another 10 feet. I've probably added another 10 feet here. And I did that. There were reasons that I did that, because like I mentioned earlier, this is an artist rendition and it's very, very good, but proportionally everything doesn't work out exactly right. And so some things had to be a little bit askew to what he's got pictured here. Like, for example, the peak of this rooftop comes into the very center of this dome right here. That just was not possible. The way, trying to reconcile this artist rendition here with the map here, that was simply not possible. It was simply not possible for that dome to be circular and for these to intersect the exact center of it. It just didn't work out that way. That's just, the artist saw it that way, but that's not what the floor plans dictate. So I tried to match the artist rendition is insofar as much as possible, while most importantly keeping true to the map, to the way the castle is laid out on the map. And for the most part, it's the drawing is good. For the most part, the drawing matches what we see on the map. But this, see, like I said, I've got my tower is a little bit taller here, because this rooftop had to go up higher, because it had to capture the entire balcony, which would not have been possible the way the thing is drawn. So I've got this is not actually a doorway here. I just punched a hole in the wall so I could cheat and walk in here. But I can go in here and I can show you that. See, now it's very dark in here. So I'm going to use the dynamic lighting mod I've got in place here and use a torch. But see, this balcony right here would not have been, could not have been contained within this chapel the way it's supposed to be, the way that it was drawn. This here still has to be sealed off. That's a portion I haven't done yet. But you can see here from the inside, this whole dome structure has just resulted in just this beautiful, what I feel like is just ended up being really beautiful architecture. I mean, it just really, it's just really, it's coming off much better than I had hoped. I've really been pleased with it. I mean, this is just sort of emergent behavior here. The way this architecture just kind of comes, grows out of the way that rooftop had to be structured to make it fit within the blocky nature of Minecraft. But I mean, just look at that. There are some places where it's not symmetrical, where I had put extra blocks in to support other blocks that I was building. So I've got to go in here and meticulously go in and, remove unnecessary blocks to make it symmetrical. But you can see that the architecture is just coming out to be, it's just coming off really nice. So then over here, this was another interesting design choice that I had to make here. So these pillars and columns that we see here. So if you look at the picture, these pillars and columns are shown right here. Now what I've got built is from this portion back here. The door I don't have built, and I don't have the rest of the structure built as it goes over here toward the rest of the battlements. But I know I'm beating a dead horse here, that I've mentioned this several times, but this whole section right here, there's no drawing that shows this section back here behind the belfry, and there's a lot of stuff going on back there. And so that's where I just have to just look at what we've got and just make decisions that make sense as to how the rooftops cap the structures off, and how everything that's not shown in the drawing or on the map comes together. And so that's where, so you see here that now this chapel here is symmetrical. We've got this portion that extends off on one side, and then we've got the exact same thing on the other side, but you don't see it. But what you do see here is this walkway going out here toward these battlements, but you don't see how they reconcile this with this portion of the chapel that's coming off right here. So that has to be there somewhere, even though we don't see it here. So the way that I reconciled that was to just continue these archways right over the top of that portion of the chapel that comes out this way. And you see it just extend these columns right down through the roof. Now these only go to the roof. These don't go inside, so that the inside of the chapel remains perfectly symmetrical. But these columns come up off of this rooftop right here and support this beam here that goes across. And then it just so happens that, and I guess because we've built it on a grid, on a lattice work the way that we did, but it just so happens that the peak of this roof of this portion of the chapel fits just very nicely right into one of those arches. I mean, I think it came together. I think it came together real nice. I'm really pleased with it. And then up here, this isn't shown on the map. Well, of course, this whole section right here, like I was saying, this is not shown on the map. Everything that we're looking at right here is hidden by that isometric view. But this right here, I just added this because it just, man, it just seemed to make sense. So this is the accountant's office, that room that comes off of the belfry right here, or maybe it's the treasury. Seems like maybe it's the treasure room. One of these here is the accountant's office, and one is the treasure room. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. The point is, it's an octagonal room that comes off of this belfry through a secret door right here, and this is that walkway right here. So this is the doorway that comes out of that large spire that comes up there, that big spiral staircase. This is that walkway that leads out onto, or the door that leads out onto that walkway. And this is that octagonal room right there. And so the floor plan just shows the places that the characters have access to. So they've got access to this spiral staircase right here. They've got access to this door. They've got access to this walkway. Then there's a solid wall right here. But that's all that this is really showing. And then the isometric view has this portion blocked off so that you can't see that doorway. You can't see, most of this walkway right here that's kind of hidden behind this belfry. So that's what we're looking at here. Here's the belfry, and then right behind this wall, that's that octagonal room. Of course, now it's not shaped octagonally out here. I just extended this wall out, but inside it's octagonal. If I go in here, you can see. See, this is the room right here, that octagonal room. And then where this rooftop comes down off of that room, I just had it ending right here, but I was looking at that and I was like, man, that just doesn't, I mean, so this is a battlement where, or a walkway out to the battlements where the guards would walk along, and when it rains, that water would just be coming right off of that rooftop right onto this battlement here, and then you've got these or right onto this walkway here that's surrounded by these battlements like this. See, these are the ones in the front, and I haven't done it yet, but these are going to extend all the way around the castle. So you can see here that it's a little wall, and it's got those battlements on top there. And so once that little 3-foot wall is extended up from this walkway here, man, this right here would just turn into a freaking swimming pool. I mean, the rainwater would just come fall down onto this walkway right here, and then it would be captured by those little walls, and then wouldn't have anywhere to go except for under the crack of this door right here, and then it would start flooding that spire in there. So that didn't make any sense. And so what I did was I just extended this rooftop on out so that when it rains, the water would pour off of here. Now, is that really going to happen in the game? No, of course not. But I wanted the design to make sense. And so, on this side, and then this is not a chimney. This is just where I raised this corner up here so the rain would be deflected off either one direction or the other direction, and it wouldn't go onto this walkway right here. Now, it could come off the edge right here, but there's a 3-foot area right here where the water would come down the edge here, and it wouldn't go onto the battlement. It wouldn't go onto the walkway. It would go down here to this portion of the roof and then drain right on off. Now you can see right here where I extended these arches, and again, this is a portion that's not shown, but I extended these arches all the way back to here. But I think this was probably wasted work here. I think these are probably going to have to go away, and the reason is because these service quarters right here will have to be roofed. Okay, so I'm going to have to put a rooftop on those, and probably what I'm going to do is continue using this black slate and just bring that rooftop from here and from here, and then right up to the wall, which would go right over. So I think I'm gonna have to turn this back into a solid wall, because that roof is gonna go right up against flush with this wall right here, and then just continue on to this wall. So it'll come down at an angle and then go right off the side of the castle. Honestly, I'm not sure what this wall right here is for. It's shown on the map, but it's I don't know what it's for. I'll do some reading about it. I'll do some reading about this area and see if it mentions it. And if it doesn't, I might just make it go away. Yeah, but that's it. I think it's looking I think it's looking really nice, man. The more I work on it, the more pleased I'm getting with it, and it's just getting very, very exciting. So I'm going to work on this rooftop on these servants' quarters right here. This is going to remain right here. This is where that spire comes up, where the spire comes up out of the castle, just sort of leaves the castle proper and extends on up into the sky. So at some point it's got to protrude from the castle proper, which I think is going to happen right here. And again, I'm probably going to have a rooftop right here that's going to go right off, bring the rainwater right off the edge onto this rooftop and then off the edge of the castle. I mean, I could leave it flat up here. I don't know. I mean, I could leave it flat, but it's not shown on the map. So really I can do whatever I want with it, and it would be valid creatively. But I'm thinking I'm leaning toward a rooftop right there, but we'll see. I want it to remain, and the reason I want it to remain is because it's hollow inside of here. So this is where, and I showed this in an earlier video, but this is where the servants' quarters. This is actually going to be a secret door. This will be a functional secret door once I get some data packs in place that have some functions that I can execute to make the secret door work. But this secret door will, however you trigger it, you open the secret door and then you go up here, and then this is inside that area right there. There's a trap door right there, and then this is another secret door that takes you out into this spire. So that is all inside of this area right here. So that's gonna remain, and then this is where the spire is gonna protrude up from the castle. And I think I'm just gonna put a rooftop right there. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. And then there's still yet a lot of work to do over here on this portion of the castle that has, a lot of brickwork, and then it's got 2, 3 spiral staircases. No, actually 2, because this one has actually ended right here, this spiral staircase. But this one is going to protrude on up and is going to be a spire, and then this one is going to be a spire that goes right on up into the sky. And then, way up here, there's going to be a bridge that goes across between these two. It's going to be really neat. I'm very, very excited about it. So anyway, that's what I'm working on now, and we're gonna continue on roofing the rest of this level 3 of the castle, and then we're gonna start working on these spires. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. Be on the lookout for upcoming build videos for Project Ravenloft. Remember, catch the Discord link in the description if you want early access to the server. And I hope to see you soon. This is Cayman Wolf, the Decrepit Gamer, reminding you you're never too old to game. And for right now, my friends, I am out of here.